So welcome back to another video, and in today's one we're going to go through the $1 million case study with my lovely little fake office background. Now this is going to be a really interesting video, I hope, because normally in my videos previous to this we've been kind of talking about the 80-20 principle. What are the the 20% of tasks that you can do with your email marketing that are going to produce the 80% of results. But in this case we've kind of went much deeper than that. Obviously it's a bigger brand. There's a lot more moving parts. So in this video, I want to dive into that, explain what exactly has worked for us and what exactly helped us to generate over $1 million over the last 12 months. So as you can see there, from last March to the end of February, we did over $1 million in email marketing revenue. So we're going to split this video on 4 levels. So we're going to talk about flows, campaigns, a quiz funnel, and obviously growth hacks as well. I don't even like calling them growth hacks, to be honest, because I think they're kind of non-negotiables anyway. But for lack of a better term, I just put that in there. So first things first, right? We'll go to the flows. And normally, like, again, in previous videos, I would have spoken about like the must-have flows. What are the flows that you need to have in order to start generating revenue? And of course, that will start with like your core 5, your welcome, browse, checkout, cart abandonment, post-purchase, right? But in here, we've split it based off of pre-purchase and post-purchase. So these are all of the flows that we've built out. And if you're really looking to squeeze as much juice out of your email list, I strongly recommend you have all of these. If not, maybe a few more as well, if you want to get a bit more granular with your flows, and if you have a way larger list as well, like a huge list. So first things first is the pre-purchase flows. We split that based off of welcome series, of course, abandoned cart, checkout, browse abandonment, site abandonment, window shoppers. So I think I've spoken about this in a previous video, but if you don't know what a window shoppers flow is, it's basically retargeting customers who are clicking emails, they're viewing products in a short space of time. So you can use a 30-day window or a 60-day window. And these customers have never made an order. So they're obviously engaging with the brand, but they haven't bit the bullet yet. They haven't made that purchase. So that flow, that job there is, the job of that flow, I suppose, is to obviously retarget those customers. And good content that kind of works in that is like product recommendations, or maybe telling a bit of a story behind the brand. Not necessarily being creepy about like, hey, look, we notice you're checking us out, come buy some stuff. You just have to kind of provide some recommendations, provide them with actual value, and try and build, the value proposition that the brand has. Then second last in the pre-purchase, we have a because you open flow. This is really good. It's kind of similar to a window shoppers flow, but whereas in this case, you're essentially retargeting customers who are opening a lot of emails and they've never made a purchase either. So they're obviously like, they're reading the emails, they just haven't bit the bullet yet. So you could pick, for example, a segment of customers who have opened more than 5 emails in a 30-day window and have still never made a purchase. And then you can retarget them. You can perhaps give them an offer or, some other form of incentive. You don't always have to offer an incentive either. And finally, we have a quiz flow. So we're going to talk a bit about this in a second. So I'll come back to that because this has its whole own section. But this has allowed us to obviously get really kind of granular with who we're speaking to and what we're speaking to them about. So again, we'll get into that there in a few minutes. In the post-purchase side then, obviously post-purchase fairly self-explanatory. We had a VIP flow. So this is going to be, rewarding customers who have purchased over 3 times or more. And, maybe perhaps giving them a VIP only discount or giving them VIP only content, giving them early access to sales and promotions, and letting them know that like you are now in the VIP club, and showing the appreciation for the fact that they trust the brand so much that they've whipped out their credit card more than 3 times. Customer win back is fairly straightforward. I'd suggest perhaps split testing this, the time delay. So perhaps you might want to split test 60 days versus 90 days, depending on how soon someone replenishes the product that you're dealing with. You can also use, Klaviyo's built-in AI as well to predict the next time of purchase in a replenishment flow as well. So that's always an option also. Second last then, on the post-purchase side, we have a subscription welcome flow. So if the brand offers a subscription, you'll want to make sure that the onboarding process is as good as possible. And one thing I kind of want to really hone in on with the post-purchase flows is that, of course, they have to have a good product experience. Of course, they have to have like, an overall good experience with the brand, and like that will feed into retention. It's not just solely down to email marketing, but like our job or your job as an email marketer or a brand is to basically make sure that the communication post-purchase is as good as it can possibly be, and you're giving them as good of an experience as you possibly can through email. Of course, you don't have control over, if the product arrives late, or if the the packaging is damaged. Of course, that's going to have an impact on the retention and on the second purchase or the third purchase. But it's still important to obviously make sure that that onboarding process is as good as it can possibly be. So obviously, if there's a subscription offer, make sure that you're onboarding them. A good good kind of content that you can use in this is, let's say it's a supplement, letting the customer know like how to get the best use out of the supplement. You can do this in the post-purchase flow as well. You should be doing that. And obviously just trying to build a habit as well. Trying to build a habit of like using the product every day or every week or whatever it is. And it's really important to try and build that habit with the customer through email, of course. Because some customers might sign up for a subscription and they might forget to take the supplement or use a skincare or whatever it is, and they mightn't see the results that they want because they're not actually using the product as it should be used. So it's important to kind of get that communication across in the post-purchase flow, or any post-purchase flow, I should say. Then, of course, finally on the post-purchase flows, we have a subscription cancellation flow. So obviously, you're not really going to expect this to drive an enormous amount of revenue, but the job of this is to obviously acknowledge that they've canceled their subscription, ask for some feedback. So ask, is there any specific reason why you've, canceled the subscription? What we like to do in these kind of flows is when you're sending a message or an email, I should say, to the customer after they've canceled their subscription, just kindly ask them to, select maybe 1 out of 5 options as to why they canceled their subscription. Then you're going to be able to collect data in Klaviyo based off of which option they've chosen. And we like to use buttons in Klaviyo and then tie a property to those buttons, so you can then obviously identify, okay, what is the biggest issue here with the subscription? Maybe it's a finance issue, maybe it's the fact that the product didn't work, maybe it's the fact that the delivery schedule was too frequent or too infrequent. So again, you can come up with these your own kind of ideas here in terms of like what questions or what reasons would be best for your brand if you even offer subscriptions. So that is the flow setup. So as you can see there, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, another 5 here, and we have 3, so that's 13. So 13 flows. So just moving on to the campaigns then. I'm not going to really kind of dive too deep into the campaigns because it's a fairly straightforward strategy. Campaigns aren't that difficult. So like as long as you're sticking to a 2 to 4 campaign per week schedule, don't always have to stick to that either. Just find out what works best for your brand. I've actually created another video on how you can effectively email your list every single day without burning your list as well. So you feel free to check that out. But generally, by and large, 2 to 4 campaigns per week is the optimal cadence to send that. In terms of segmentation, like who to actually send to, because the list wasn't like astronomically big in this case, we put a strong focus on just buyers, non-buyers, VIPs, and lapsed customers, and of course your engaged segment as well. That should go without saying. And just for context, for buyers and non-buyers, when we're segmenting, we want to make sure that these are engaged buyers and these are engaged non-buyers. We don't want to be hitting up people who are a non-buyer and have they've never opened an email in the last 6 months. Those people should be removed after a certain time, and after I suppose a last-ditch attempt to try and recuperate those customers. Finally, then, in terms of the content that we use, some mixed, educational content and branded direct response. And if you don't know what branded direct response is, it's essentially a blend of trying to build a brand identity or the value of the brand while also trying to get a direct response out of the customer. So rather than sending a plain text email that's very aggressive copy, where it's just like buy, maybe you might just tell a story about the brand. This is how this product works. This is the ingredients behind it. This is a story about how we source the ingredients. And then you're trying to look for that direct response. In other words, the sale. That's a very quick explanation, but if you look up branded direct response, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And again, it's just that blend between branded copy and direct response copy. You're not being overly aggressive with it, but you're still looking for that immediate reaction or immediate sale. Then just moving on to the quiz funnel. So I know we spoke about this previously. One major factor in what helped us over the last 12 months is having a quiz funnel, because number one, you have great data. Number two, you can get very personalized with the messaging that you're sending to certain customers. So what we did is we set up a quiz on Typeform. Now you can use a lot of different tools to set up a quiz. You can use things like Jebbit. You can use, I think, Octane AI. obviously Typeform as well. We just use Typeform because it integrates nicely with Klaviyo and it's quite simple to use. So what we did is we had a quiz. We essentially looked for what the exact concerns of the customer were. So like imagine you have a supplement brand. What is your biggest concern? Is it sleep? Is it energy? Is it focus? Is it whatever? And using these answers in the quiz, we can then segment customers based off of the answers that they've given. So how it worked was we collected emails through a quiz. And again, I'm just going to stop and pause for a second. Like you really should be implementing a quiz if you have a brand. If you're not doing it, you're probably losing out on like a lot of, opportunity to personalize your emails and to, squeeze as much juice out of the list as you possibly can. I know that sounds bad, but the more personalized you can get with it, the better. So we collected emails through a quiz, again on Typeform. Once people finished the quiz, we asked for their email. Then their email will be sent to the Klaviyo list. And then we can split that based off of what their main concern was. So if their main concern was, let's say, for example, their main concern was sleep or their main concern was focus, we can then send them specific product recommendations based off of whether their concern is sleep or focus or something else. And again, you can use this data further down the line to get more granular with your segmentation. So not only can you use this in a flow, you can also use this later down the line if you have a certain product that solves a certain issue. Like let's say another example, like dry skin. What you can do is you can obviously send product recommendations based off of that skin concern. So you don't just have to limit it to this flow. So finally, right, we'll go on to the growth hacks. And again, I don't really want to call this growth hacks, but these are 3 points that really helped us over the last year, and I'm sure it'll help your brand as well or your clients. So regularly pushing people to the SMS list. And what I mean by this is utilizing social media, utilizing the email list to push people into the SMS list. So we do this by creating SMS subscription links. At the time of this recording, you can only use SMS subscription links for US and Canadian numbers. Most of our clients are in the US or Canada as well, so that's fine for us. But if you're in another country, you might not be able to use this. However, what we did was we used a subscription link. So we'd include this on, let's say, an Instagram story, or use this on, a button on an email, and we'd be pushing people into the SMS by offering them some form of incentive to join that list. So, for example, you might send out an email campaign saying, "Look, you can get 10% off when you join the SMS list." Once they join, then we'll have a flow set up on the back of that with it, so trigger based off of when someone joins the SMS list, and then they'll get their 10% off. So obviously, you're going to be driving sales, and you're going to be getting more people into your SMS list. So would strongly recommend sending at least one a month, if not two, to your list or to your to your email list or to your social media followers, trying to get them in there, because an SMS subscriber is very, very valuable. So just the second point here under the growth hacks, right? I'm going to talk about Retention X. This has been a really, really valuable tool for us. If you haven't been using it, I strongly recommend considering it because it gives you fantastic insights. So I'm just going to come over here and show you an example of an insight that we've got for this brand. Now, I've obviously blocked out some customer names, but as you can see here, look, it's basically saying that there's 44.5K of untapped revenue. Now, this mightn't be 100% accurate, of course. But what it's telling us is 160 of our top customers are expected to purchase within the next 30 days. Making 80% of them buy will generate an additional X amount of revenue, right? So what you can do, and I know the segment is kind of small here, but like hopefully this kind of gives you the idea, is what you can do with this tool is you can actually view the segment, push it into Klaviyo, and then you can send these customers a specific email, like something perhaps along the lines of, "Are you running low on product X?" Something like that. Anything to kind of re-engage those customers and try and remind them to make that purchase, because like this tool has literally told you it's using data that's pulling from Klaviyo, pulling from Shopify. So it has the data here to tell you like these customers are expected to buy. You can see here expected next order in 6 days, 9 days, 5 days, whatever that may be. So using a tool like this is really valuable, and it gives you kind of more insight that you might get natively in Klaviyo. Then last but not least, prioritizing VIPs and SMS for product launches and promos. So I think this kind of goes without saying, but whenever we're running a product launch or promo, we're giving VIPs and SMS subscribers, first dibs on those. Because number one, we've told them when we were in the VIP flow, of course, when we were communicating to them, we would have told them that like, look, by joining or by getting into the VIP list, you now get early access to product launches and promos. So it's really important to kind of make them feel like royalty. They're your top customers. Your VIPs especially, obviously SMS, if someone's giving you their phone number, they're obviously way higher intent than a normal customer. So just make sure that you're giving them, you know, the royalty treatment, and prioritizing them for product launches and promos. That's really worked for us. And to be honest, for all the promos that we've ran throughout, you know, we've been with this client nearly 2 years at this stage. And every single promo we've ran where we've given VIP/SMS early access, they've obviously been the top performing campaigns of the whole promotion. So that's obviously something to take on board. So hopefully you found this video useful. It kind of hopefully went a bit more in depth in terms of like other videos that I've done, because I know I was kind of speaking about the 80-20 principle and stuff, but really these are the kind of steps that you need to follow if you want to be seeing serious results with email marketing, if not more than this as well. But I've tried to give a as high level view as possible, while also not getting too granular as well. But hopefully you found this video useful anyway. Please drop a comment in the comment section if you found it valuable, or if you have any questions, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next video.